Hi all, this is Simine from SD Design, and today I'm going to hopefully do a shortish video on how I do my foil cards. Well, a lot of my friends and customers so far have asked me, do you supply these to a print shop and do they do it for you? Hell no! You can do this at home yourself. You just need about 4 main things, not expensive, so don't you worry, and you can create as many foiled cards or prints or whatever your heart desires. Sorry about the dorkiness. 4 items that you need, basic items, would be obviously paper. I would recommend thick enough paper that it wouldn't, I don't know, bend easily, but easy enough to crease, I suppose. So about 300 GSM is what I use for my cards, and is perfect. That's the number one thing you need, paper, clearly. And then you would need a foil, again, clearly. Foils come in all sorts of brands, different brands do it, and it has to be reactive foil. The brand that I get is the Minc one by Heidi Swapp, but honestly you do not need to buy this particular brand. The reason why I get these is because I live in New Zealand, where everything is super hard to get down this end of the world. There are so many other brands for so many different supplies that it's very hard for me to get here, unfortunately. So I just have to go with what I can find. And this is definitely what I can find at our spotlight stores. But you'll have your own craft stores that you know of that you can go to find these things. Third item you would need is a printer. The type of printer you would need, and this is key to making foiled cards or foiled anything, is to get a laser printer, a cheap one that prints black only. You don't need a color laser printer. That's the key for the foil to stick to it. Inkjet printers print with ink. Laser printers print with toner, and foil only sticks to toner. Revelation! That's honestly how I felt when I found out. So you might too. Again, you might not be as dorky as me, so I apologize. So that was the third item. The fourth item you would need is obviously something that would help the foil to stick to the toner ink. And that would be a laminator. Again, you do not have to buy a very expensive laminator. You can buy a very cheap one that does the job. I would recommend getting a laminator that has settings on it, just because I bought a Minc one, so this brand by Heidi Swapp laminator has settings on it. You will see it in the following video, in my process. And I find that really good because depending on what type of paper you're using, you do not want necessarily on a thinner paper, such as if you're doing a print, you do not want to use a really high settings. It'll warp your paper and all that. It's same the other way around. If you have thick paper like 300 GSM, you do not want it to be on low settings because the foil won't stick properly on certain parts of it. Otherwise, I am more than 90% sure any laminator will work. So I'm not going to blab on too much more. We will move on and I will show you step by step how to do this. So bear with me. Okay, and we're back. Sorry if the lighting changes quite a bit. It's late in the afternoon and my window's right there, so hopefully it doesn't affect the lighting too much. Just basically brought out all the things that we need: ruler, craft knife. I printed my design with the laser printer, and I've made sure that I have crop marks so I know exactly the size of my card and where I'm cutting. A cutting board would be handy, and then I've got my foil, again whatever color you decide. I've got 2 cuts, one for this side and one for the logo part at the back. All you need is some sort of plastic sleeve, clear sleeve. Clear is preferable, so you can see where you're placing your foil and it's covering the toner and all that. Again, something very easy to find in craft shops and stores. There are certain parts that I can see it's kind of done, printed darker toner on one side and then a little bit lighter. Again, you get odd things like that with, I suppose, cheap laser printers. There are times, there are occasions that you must know there will be odd spots that might not work, and I might be able to show you if this does the same thing. I'm going to cut this against. Now you notice this, I'm cutting where the lines are, but I'm stopping where I meet the line, and I'm not cutting the entire paper off. And that is because I want it to cut inside so that this remaining paper stays where it is, so that I can match it with this crop mark. If I had cut the entire thing off, this whole paper would have gone away and I wouldn't have had the guide there to match this guide. So here's our cut up design ready to go. Here's our foil. Now I open the folder, put the card in. Then you got to make sure that the foil is covering the entire black toner, because if you don't cover the entire black areas, the toner, the toner will stick to your folder and it'll ruin your folder. You let it grab it and watch it go. Here comes the magical part. This one just came right off. Just gonna put that away. So lovely, lovely. Don't need that. That worked perfectly. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. And here we go. Hallelujah. Alright guys, that looks pretty good to me. There's one spot here, I don't know if you can see in the video. Tiny little dot there that for some reason did not want to grab. I may try to put a tiny piece of foil on top of that and send it through again to see if it grabs it. Sometimes you may have, it could be this actually, there's a little something going on here on my folder. Don't even know what that is, but that totally could have been it. An obstacle that had got in the way. So it's always a place to look at your folder, make sure it's clean and it doesn't have any particles or anything that could absolutely get in the way of the foil sticking to the toner. And the good thing about this is that you could always use the negatives as well, so don't throw them away. They may come in handy. And the way you could use that is to print a completely black page with your laser printer and then place that on top of it. But you'd have to make sure that all the black spots, so all the black toner that would be shown through this is covered with just a random piece of paper, so that again that black toner does not stick to your folder. I'll just put this aside and I'll show you one more thing that you, if you want to invest in, you could. This is a We Are Memory Keepers brand trim and scoreboard. It wasn't that expensive. I think it was $50, $40, something like that. It's good for trimming. Really quick pieces of paper, cutting it off. Yep, easy peasy, right? For this purpose that I use crop marks, I would not use this because again, it will cut off the entire paper and you will lose your crops. That's why I use craft knife and ruler instead. What I love about this is for scoring. So I use my cards to score where the line is, and it comes with its own little handy dandy score thingy. And you literally align it with one of the scoring lines where you think the fold is. You should obviously know your card sizes as well that you've created so that you know where it's supposed to fold. And then it's just super easy after that for it to fold. You don't have to fight with it or anything. And that is it, guys. I have a lovely card that I foiled myself in the comfort of my own home. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the YouTube comments area. Feel free to give me any advice or comments or questions that you may have, and I'll be happy to reply back to you. Thanks again for watching and being so patient with me. See you later.